welcome to my channel. My name is Lizzie. I hope you are ready for Sunday's Soulful Sessions with Spirit. It's a mouthful, I know, but today we are talking, it's the first BT dubs. If you've been with me through this whole journey with the spiritual sessions, we are on a new journey now. We are talking about relationships and getting the first week off with marriages and like long-term relationships, people you live with, what can go down, what's going to happen. I draw the decks and I pick the topic and Spirit leads the discussion. So we're going to get right into it. By the way, this will be the last time you see the Easter stuff for all the stuff that I record. Before I switch it up, I don't know if I'll record again after this one, and I might do another one. But eventually I'm switching it over to spring. I have a spring background with some decorations ready. So I went a little extra with my backdrop today. I picked all the stuff from around the house and I kind of went extra hard for the last day. So, yes, it is different. I don't normally show my corner this much either. So, by the way, I love this shirt. Whisper words of wisdom. So cute. I love it. All right. Let me get a drink and we'll get started. I forgot. I always forget my drink. Dang it. Okay, I should warn you. My allergies are crazy today. Like my eyes are puffy. My nose is running. I didn't even put like upper eyeliner on today. My eyes are just itchy. Spring is in the air though. So if I blink a lot, my eyes are itching. And like sniffly. I'm not sick. It's just seasonal stuff. I'm separating these. Sorry. Alright. So, since we're talking about relationships and marriage and all that stuff, I thought we'd have a little bit of fun. I made these decks. I have masculine and feminine. These are like movie characters or TV show characters. And then I have description of like famous couples, either real or characters and famous stuff. And then I have TV shows that's going to give us some details and, you know, some sayings. Just to have a little fun with the discussion. I have channeled cards with sayings on it that are going to help lead the discussions, and then I have a ton of decks. I like to do the spiritual sessions for at least an hour, like you would be on a real counselor's couch for an hour. So this is going to be a long one, so pause, get a drink, get a snack, do what you got to do, but let's get into it. So I'm going to talk about divine masculine, divine feminine in this discussion, but it isn't about twin flames or soulmates or anything like that. I'm talking about energy inside your relationship. I don't know why they named it masculine and feminine for energies if everything in life is about masculine and feminine, like gender. So I want you to, for this discussion, to remove gender when I say masculine and feminine energy, and I'm going to very briefly describe. Masculine energy would be there's a lot of times somebody goes into masculine energy, but for this discussion I'm talking about like who would take the male, I don't like focus on gender, but you know what I mean, like the provider, the masculine side of the household. It does not have anything to do with gender, but it also talks about the one going, like when I'm in masculine energy, I'm like trying to get a promotion, I'm working through school, I'm fighting through something, I'm facing some adversity, I need to be strong, I need to be confident, I need to be standing in my power. That's masculine energy. Especially when you go into protect mode. And feminine energy is often described as like the empress or the mother, because that's exactly what feminine energy is. It's in a nurturing state. Men are often in feminine energy. They're taking care of their loved ones, mom, dad, wife, kids. They're nurturing. They're taking care of something, working on a project they care about. They're in the feminine energy. They're building, they're nurturing, they're creating, they're uplifting, they're being healing. That's feminine energy. Masculines are providers, usually traditional, going after something, facing adversity, needing to be strong, pushing ourselves. So when I talk about your relationship, oftentimes, like I said, you have each inside of you, feminine and masculine energies. So when I'm talking about things, and if it's sounding like you, and that part of it, that's you. In that time, you were in the masculine energy. I'm just, instead of saying him, her, this, that, I'm just saying masculine and feminine, but I know it trips people up. Just wanted to side note that. So let's talk about the masculine energy. We're talking about things that pop up, realistic things that pop up inside a relationship, but there's so many things that go down. So let's break it down a little bit. And I know this is a long-term in marriage, but I want you to remember what the beginning was like. So for just a minute, let's walk it back to the beginning. Let's say the first 3 months of your relationship, which everybody, well, no, let's extend it because we don't want to extend this to like 2 hours. Let's say the first year, 2 years for time. First 2 years, the honeymoon phase, like when everyone's lovey-dovey and like you could still be in the 2-year range, but I feel like for the first 2 years, you're not really like bored with the sex. Even if there's a lot going on, like you guys are still passionate. You still have like big goals for your future. Like, you know what I mean? It's still the honeymoon phase in the first 2 years. So let's talk about masculine energy. What can we talk about here to help people who are in the masculine energy, the providers, the ones that maybe are like going to school and like trying to maintain a relationship? Like, what's the deal, Spirit? Where are we starting? Noah the Notebook. I mean, I love this movie. This channel, like, I go hard for this movie. Because it's my grandma. She's deceased. Columbus. Jesse from Zombieland. Tallahassee. Those two always come together. And I shuffle. Aquaman. Okay, so this is helping me. You're probably like, what the fuck? But it makes sense to me. So I have on the back attributes of Noah. So I don't really need them for the discussion. Because this is about, like, what are the parts about Noah that made every gay man or woman, like, straight woman, like, it's, love at first sight, went hard to prove their love, dedicated for a year, constant communication. She said one night about a dream she had about a shabby house they were in, and he actually built it. You know what I mean? Like, if you break down the movie, it's like the epitome of what every fantasy of a dream person was. They listen to you. They care about you. They worship the ground. Not that you need to be idolized, but, to be craved is a good feeling. And when you're in love with someone, you crave them. They crave you. It's like the sexual, like, sizzle in the air, you know what I mean? But this is what Noah is. It's not really hard. Everybody says, oh, that happens in movies. It's not realistic. But the stuff that happens in the movies, yes. Like, showing up at the perfect time. Like, yeah, all that shit is bullshit. But the overall principles of what and who Noah was is not hard. He listened to Allie. He showed how much he wanted Allie. He was willing to fight adversity, but at the same time sacrificed for her to have better because he's he loved her more than he loved himself. Like, if you pick apart what Noah was, you have to watch this movie. If you've never seen The Notebook, I'll break it down for you. Noah was from a poor side of the family. He fell in love with a rich girl in her vacation home. Like, Noah lived there permanently. Allie just visited there with her family. He fell in love. It was an unlikely pair. Nobody wanted them together. So at the end of the summer, Allie's family pretty much said, come on, you're going to hold her back. And he listened, so they broke up. He went to fight World War II. He lost his best friend, who actually was friends with Allie and them and hung out all summer. He came home. Him and his dad bought that crappy house I was talking about, where the first time they almost had sex there as teenagers, but they got interrupted. So he bought the house because him and Allie sat and talked about their future, how that she would have a room in the house so she could paint because she was an artist, and how they would have kids. And anyway, long story short, his dad dies. He lost his best friend. His dad dies. He sees Allie years later in the city. He gets off the bus and he sees that she's engaged to someone else. So devastated, because this whole time he's believing if he builds the house that she'll come back. Long story short, it was a testament of, if you believe it enough, if you fight for your love enough, it could withstand anything, and time is irrelevant. When you love someone, it never fades, it never crashes, and you always put forth the effort. But there was also a toxic side to Noah and Allie. Allie would slap him in the face. They would yell. They would fight all the time. It was very toxic energy, describing the passion and being young and stupid and just, worrying about the wrong stuff, and then growing up to be older and facing different relationships. She was engaged, and it was a whole thing. It's this is what Spirit is saying, you can be a provider, you can be in that masculine energy and be vulnerable, like Noah told Allie. One of my favorite parts of the movie is the part where he slams the door and it's you tell me when I'm being a pain in the ass, or you tell me when I'm being a son of a bitch, you tell me when I'm being a son of a bitch, and I tell you when you're being a pain in the ass, and then 3 seconds later, you're back doing the next pain in the ass thing. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard, but I want it. Blah, 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 blah. That whole scene. Oh, my God. Everybody's seen it through the whole part, but, it's true. It's messy. It's hard. You're going to have to work at it every day, but I want you. That's the key point. You have to want it. You have to listen. You have to put forth effort. And sometimes you gotta step up and do some giant romantic shit just to throw the spark in there and say, hey, this shit ain't over yet, boo-boo. We're still young. Let's have rain sex. Okay, let's talk about Tallahassee. So Tallahassee was a hothead. But this is Woody Harrelson's character in Zombieland. The crazy, all I can picture is him with the bat in the grocery store and just but the root of Tallahassee's character was he lost his son. He was grieving, he was angry, and he was lashing out. And this is a big part of marriages, when people have miscarriages, when they lose children, when they lose loved one. We're talking about grief here and how it changes people. When you go through something horrifically hard, it changes you. Tallahassee probably wasn't Tallahassee before Zombieland happened. He lost his son and it turned him into Tallahassee. Wah! You know what I mean? So sometimes that can drive people away and cause big rifts in relationships. But this also talks about having to be the macho side of a divine masculine, having to buck up, chest up, and appear tough and not be vulnerable. When Tallahassee told the story at first, he was talking about a dog when really he meant his son. He knew what he was implying, but he just felt like he couldn't be vulnerable. He didn't want to lose that tough exterior. He didn't want people feeling sorry for him. And I feel like a lot of people in the masculine energy feel like they can't expose their feelings, like they have to have this mask all the time, and this can cause rifts in relationships as well. We have Aquaman. First of all, Aquaman had a bit of a drinking problem. So we're going to talk about addictions. But this talks about, guilt, about like responsibilities as a family. Like you are a provider. This is about the masculine that's like grown up really traditional. Like you grow up, you take care of your family, you get a good job, you pay money, this is how you show your family love, by giving them a good life. And it's like Aquaman struggled with accepting the responsibility of who and what he had to do. But it was his birthright. It was something that was ordained before his birth. And something that caused them great adversity. So, like, this is people, like, with their family businesses. And if you work with your family, that person's family is usually going to be all up in your business and their relationship. So we're getting into people who have really tight-knit families. And addictions, because everybody up in your business doesn't help, and addictions doesn't help relationships. And then getting stuck in the traditional sense of what a masculine role is, and kind of losing yourself in what you feel as an obligation. And then Columbus, the same movie with Zombieland, Columbus was a planner. He was also a loner, introvert, didn't have friends, didn't have a love interest. I feel like this talks about sometimes masculines can get too caught up in the planning, or being too cautious in things. And, sometimes kids and wives and families need a little bit of spontaneity and need to switch it up. And I feel like masculines get a bit stuck in their structure and routines. But it also talks about feeling like they have to do everything alone, like they have to bear the weight alone, when it isn't true. Like, this is another traditional sense of what people are told masculines have to be like. So we're going to be getting into that. You know what, let's stay in the pocket before I move to the feminine, because I really want to cover these and not miss anything. So first, let me get a tissue, because I feel like I'm about to sneeze. Okay, so remember what I said. We're in, like, the first 2 years of a relationship. So this Noah, the notebook, would be, like, putting forth the effort, showing romance, whining and dining, but also that toxic side where you're fighting all the time and bickering and, like, trying to understand each other. Differences getting in the way. So I pulled the animal deck, and I want to talk about feelings. Let's talk about the toxic side first. Like, of Noah and Allie when they fought. Like, you see Allie in the movie actually slap Noah a few times. Like, they're arguing, and she just straight up, like, and then they just start kissing. They're teenagers in that part, but it's like, it doesn't have to be... I would hope nobody's slapping anybody, but it's like that passion, that young, still don't really know, like, it's like your body can't separate anger for this person and wanting to rip their clothes off. I feel like very later down the road, you get in that pocket of, no, I'm mad right now, but not in the early years. We have jellyfish. Yeah, to me, this is about the sting, feeling the sting we get. Listen, we are so super sensitive about how the other person feels and views us and thinks about us, because it's the honeymoon phase. This person is like your whole world at this point, at least in your heart space. Like, their opinion matters. Like, at this point, you might not be even living together or engaged, and like, you really want this to work out. So when you do something they don't like, or when you guys say something in a fight, that you really don't mean, it sticks on both sides. But the masculine, this is about, I feel like it's a power struggle. a lot of the fighting and the early toxicity of, like, you fight about stupid shit, like you're at a party and you're all hanging out and you're across the room talking to your friends and dancing, and your person's across the room with their friends just hanging out, and somebody's like girlfriend or cousin or whatever comes over into the group, and your person's really not doing anything but like talking to them. Maybe it's awkward and they're trying to like be sweet and make them not feel so uncomfortable, but from where you're standing, it looks like they're flirting and talking, so that you're like, oh, who is that? Like, that's early 19, 18, 20 stuff. Everybody goes through this to a certain level of, I don't want anyone to take what's mine. I don't want this person to, it's like power struggle within yourself. I don't want them to treat me like they could just flirt with other people while I'm here. Like, it's like you want to set that boundary to protect yourself, but at the same time, you're also scared of that person also taking your person. There's all these fears, and there's no like ground rules set. So a lot of the bickering comes from, you're just too young, or it's just too new, or you're too afraid to sit down and be like, in the beginning of the relationship, be like, look, this is what I want. This is the direction I'm going in. Like, if you're a person who wants children, if you're a person that wants to move in with someone, like, obviously I don't want it tomorrow, but I'm hoping this is where the relationship goes. How do you feel about that? Are you someone who sees kids in their future? How long would you feel, asking the really tough questions is very awkward in this phase, but this is why the fighting happens, because it's like, I want this, and I feel like this person wants it too, and I feel like this is a good direction, but there's no certainty. It's like at that point of, don't tell me, show me. So what's great about Noah is Noah did a lot of showing Allie how special she was, but Allie also did this for Noah in her own way. She was an artist. She painted him a painting. She hung out with his dad. Like, it was like finding ways to say I love you in your actions. I feel like the more you put forth loving actions, the less bickering happens. But at the same time, if you're with someone who's very insecure, if they're insecure in yourself, or if you or they are insecure, or both of you, like, that bickering's just going to happen until you heal. And there isn't really any evolution as a couple that would happen unless you were both willing to step back and be like, look, I'm insecure. I'm scared of you cheating on me. I have body issues. Like, if you acknowledge it and you talk to each other and you work on it together, I feel like that would be something very solid. But I really feel like nothing really gets stabilized and off the ground in a healthy way if you can't love yourself. If it bothers you for someone else to like stand close to your person or like touch your person, not obviously in a creepy way, but just like, oh, thank you. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to have to talk to the opposite sex through work or whatever. Or if you can't handle that, then you aren't ready for a relationship. But I feel like, and a lot of these couples that come together, it's like, not only are you young, sometimes it's not about you being young, and it's just you coming from very different places. Like, if you think about Noah and Allie, they were from very two different sides of the tracks. They went to separate schools. There's no way they could have ever coexisted had Allie's family not vacationed there. You know what I mean? So it's like, girl, 22. Ooh, this is about seeing the higher perspective. I feel like you get more insecure the deeper the connection. Like, if you like fall head over heels for someone, whether you're young or old, the fear of losing them becomes an anxiety. And that anxiety is triggered when you feel like they're flirting with other people, or you feel like they're ignoring you and not giving you enough time, or you feel like they're not really opening up the way you want. It's like, feel like you know it's real, the more nervous you are. But we get so tripped up in this masculine energy of I need to be in control, I need to be in power of myself, and this person shakes me up and I can't be shooken. I don't know what to do. I don't want to give someone the key to my control box because, if I do that and they don't want me or they, reject me or maybe I don't like them in the end. And then my image of all of this is crushed and I'm like, you make a billion things in your head. This is where a lot of the bickering comes from. A lot of like picking the wrong partners. One, we don't communicate effectively up front about what we're about and what we want and what direction we're going. A lot of people aren't confident enough to be like, look, this is what I want in life. I'm not saying I want it tomorrow or next year, but if you don't seem like you're on the same lane as me, I would rather know now than instead of investing in you emotionally. Like, not that you have to treat it like a business deal because that's wrong. That's going to be a turnoff. But at the same time, it's like laying that foundation, setting that boundary of I'm not like me. I'm not putting myself in here. I'm just using it as an example. Like, my boundary would be I don't like other third-party options. There can't be other people. Like, we have to be exclusive. So if we're together, there's no sex with other people, no talking to other people in that way, and being very clear. Also, I want to get married one day. I want to have babies. So if you're not somebody who wants marriage or babies, then I really don't feel like this is working. Setting those points right up front so you don't get like 2 years down the road like, I want kids. Well, I don't want kids. I'm ready to get married. Well, I'm not ready to get married. Well, I mean, that can still happen. But I mean, like, to just be talking about it at 2 years and realizing how different you are on the pages that you're on can be very devastating. All right, so let's talk about Tallahassee here, like the tough and the emotions, like why. Understanding your emotions helps me counsel you a little bit. Why masculines go into this phase here. We have bat and praying mantis. If you think about a praying mantis, after the female sleeps the praying mantis, they eat them alive. So in this masculine energy of I have to be tough, I can't show my feelings, I need to be in control, they're looking to me to be stable. It's because masculines feel like if they look weak to their family or their other person, that they're going to get ate alive, as in they're not masculine enough, or they're not sexy enough anymore, or they're not strong enough, or they're a pushover, or they feel like in some way they're going to be punished for not being tough or not allowing their emotions to surface. If they were to cry and just come out and say, hey, my son died and I'm devastated, they would feel like the world would eat them alive and laugh at them for it. They don't feel like they have support. So a lot of times, if you're with a masculine energy and they're always like the tough person, like they don't cry, they don't, like when they get mad and they're mad and they don't let those emotions out, or like they're really upset and sad and they like go off, they're like crying in their shower and then they act like they weren't, you know what I mean? That tough exterior, it's because they're so vulnerable that anyone coming at them in any way would be like too much to handle. So it's like a shield. When they feel most vulnerable, or they feel like they have the most to lose, or if they're afraid of looking weak, the more this comes out. Sometimes this is hereditary, like watching their masculines in their life acting this way. Like when someone checks them, if they don't check them back, then they're considered weak. It kind of comes from that mentality. Oh dear. And then we have bat. It's like feeling the need, I have to hide my emotions. And I feel like the world has been programmed that masculines can't cry, that they can't show weakness, that they have to be hard, that they have to be the protector, they can't be scared, it's it's a silly example, but it's 100% true. Like, you see a spider in the kitchen, you yell and scream for your husband or the man of the house. Well, what if that man of the house is more scared of a spider than you, but you're always seemingly calling the masculine when a critter, when something breaks? It's like we get stuck into these generational roles that were placed on us, and this is a part of it. That men or masculine energies or people who are in that role of the dominant one in the relationship have to be in control of at all times and can't show their emotions, can't express it. And this obviously would cause a rift in a relationship, because if you're not opening up, if you're feeling like you need to be tough, that masculine would grow to have or show resentment that other people in their family, when they're going through hard times, seem to get compassion, and that this person is just expected to keep going because that's what this person does, and that's what everybody learns is their process. So they're actually just respecting the process, but to the masculine, they're being disrespectful and just leaving them because they aren't voicing themselves, that they feel like because they're the leader or in that role of dominant that they can't be weak, that they would let them down in some way. Let's talk about Columbus. This is that, like, always needing to have a plan or getting too, like, need to plan for the future or going inward too much. Maybe being a homebody too much. We have snake and jellyfish. The two things that sting. It's like a double-edged sword. It's like really nice to have a relationship that you can like stay home and hang out with and both of you be cool with that. But I feel like at the same time, the more that you two stay home together, this happened in my past relationship too. Like, you lose touch with the people in your life, you lose your identities, and you become one identity. Like, if you think about Columbus and what was Emma Stone's name in there, but she ran because she didn't want to have to need anyone. This is about like getting too stuck in your comfort zone. Either like you get in a relationship and you already get them and they're in love with you and you feel like you don't have to try, so you'd rather just kind of like either hang out with your small group of friends at home, or maybe you're like a loner and do something off to yourself, and it kind of like separates you from your family and your spouse. But I feel like this comes from a place of masculine hiccups who work really long hours, really hard hours. In their time off, they just want to be lazy because they can't be lazy. And I feel like a lot of miscommunication comes from that. Like, look, this is the only time that I can sit and recharge. Like, I need to be on my top game at work, and I don't sleep a lot during the week, or I'm always on the go, and like literally just sitting here and watching TV is so relaxing. And that can sting your family members, like, oh, you'd rather just be lazy and not spend time with us. But at the same time, the masculine is exhausted, and they can't look at their family and be like, well, I work 60 hours to put food on the table, because that would be sexist. That would cause a fight. But at the same time, it's a genuine and real feeling. It's just like, let me do what I want to do in my own time off. But I feel like this is not just true for masculine energy. I feel like that's a mirrored thing. That's why it's the two things that sting. That's why it's the double-edged sword. It's like we're always, like, if you have children in the home, you know, in the first 2 years, it's like if one works and they have that downtime and the other one's home and they never have downtime because their home is considered their job, they're like can grow a resentment here that they don't get that zen time. It's like, I feel like Columbus in this case is like, we all need our own time, but having too much of our own time can cause arguments and rifts in a relationship and cause you to lose your own identity and just be seen as one kind of morphed person in everybody around you. And then Aquaman, this is like talking about like people who are like really close entwined families. What we got going on for this? Butterfly. So this is about transforming, about learning to step into that leadership role, or learning to step into that masculine energies rebel when they feel pushed in a corner. Masculine energy is about the fight. It's about the grit. It's about achievement and wanting to cross the finish line. So it comes from all this anxiety of, I don't want my world to change. This is the way I like it. There's two sides of Aquaman, and I feel like I need to talk about, because Aquaman was a loner. Was just really only close with their dad, his dad. So this, I feel like, talks about family transformation. Because like when you grow up into something that's like a family business, you either got to learn a trade or you got to like grow up working in it. Let me get a few more. Wanting healing, wanting change, wanting everybody to just be able to blossom together. This is about mixing, like maybe you get married and like your family is very busy and you work with your family every day and everyone's all up in each other's business. You could be different cultures, and not only do you work together, then you have meals together and you hang out on the weekend, and you're just like constantly, and like your family only comes around like on the holidays. It's like they're not used to. This is about like walking into a completely different lifestyle here. This can cause a huge problem, especially in the first 2 years when you're all like getting used to each other. Yeah, hummingbird, it's like, and tiger. So in this aspect, on the first 2 years, I feel like you're very protective of your union and you're very protective of each other. And if you're making these big changes and you know someone's coming into your family and you know your family's pushy, this is like you like, come on guys, leave her alone. Like, you don't need to be all up in our business. Like, what out? Like, setting that boundary with your family, like, look, she's not used to us. Setting those boundaries with your family will be really helpful here. But this can also cause a lot of fighting within your family. If, like, you're in love with someone and, like, your parents or your siblings don't like them or your friends don't like them, this becomes a huge complication. Because masculine energy is really like this butterfly of wanting everybody to coexist and get along and wanting things to go not necessarily the same way or smooth sailing, but they want peace. And it's like sometimes it feels like you're getting nowhere. It's like you're making all these strides in your relationship, but your outer stuff isn't seemingly like your relationship could be growing and getting better, but they're still fighting with your family. Like, or this could even be like your family is pushing you to do things before you're ready. Oh, I like this one. Like, don't let this one go, because that becomes toxic as well. Again, I feel like I'm being directed to just stay in the masculine pocket and counsel, and then we'll flip the script and go to the divine feminine, and then I'm going to just talk about random stuff. But I want to focus on sides because I feel like it covers a lot of things. I'm sorry, I'm getting cold. A lot of things within fights that I'm not going to cover later. Oh my God, freezing. Okay, so let me get some TV shows that can help me counsel the divine masculine. So let's do a slight recap of the key points here for you masculines. Let me back up. So Columbus the energy of Columbus from Zombieland is like making sure you have time for yourself and time with your friends, but also making sure you have date night and that you are having alone time as a couple, but you also need to have alone time with any children. It's like you can't just be Columbus sitting in the apartment focusing on your own needs and wants. Like Columbus never saw their family or his family. It's like you gotta get out of the comfort zone too. And this is also like I'm seeing like Columbus writing the list. Like you can't be too controlling. Like as masculines, I always it's again not men, but I'm using the like controlling father. Like you can't date until you're 21. Like setting unrealistic rules can become a big issue as well. I think you can find better ways to establish your control instead of like dictating to your kids or like, you know, it can come in any forms. It could be like you move into a place and you feel like the person who lives beneath you likes your person and it's like, hey, this person is taken, back off. You know what I mean? It's like setting those boundaries isn't always needed. Don't get stuck in needing to control everything. Tallahassee, you know, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to express exactly what you're feeling. Like you don't need to sugarcoat stuff. But because you're going through things and because you're in masculine energy, it's also not an excuse just to be like a hothead either. Like Tallahassee, at points, you know, you feel bad for him and you can see why he's doing that. And at some points, it's like, all right, well, now he enjoys being a dick. Like, you have to, you can't just be a hothead. And if you are a hothead, you have to learn why you're being a hothead. And this is what's going to help. Because in the first 2 years, if you guys really nip this stuff in the bud, like, it's just going to go up and smooth sailing and be calmer. So overall message, I feel like, show, don't tell. Like show somebody how much you love by giving them your respect, your time, listening, putting forth with honest intention, and really setting those boundaries on what you want, masculine. You don't have to control everything. You're not in charge of everything. Everything is not on your shoulders. You can be vulnerable from the gate. You can be yourself. You don't like have to get them to, you know, a certain point before you can like cry and be vulnerable. Like you should be able to be yourself from the gate in any relationship. And don't ever let family dictate what is right for your heart. But at the same time, if it's just like severely toxic, you know, if your family is always going to hate the person that you're with and your person's always not going to like your family, like you're never going to have peace. And do you really want to be with someone who never seems to concede for the betterment of your heart and not their own opinions on things? I feel like that would be a red flag in the first 2 years of something that you would need to discuss. So, why am I so breathless all of a sudden? I feel like sometimes when I channel, I feel like I'm channeling super fast. These are, again, TV shows. What else I need to talk about? Masculine energy. Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Yeah, this is about in the first 2 years about hiding like all your quirks and things that you think are embarrassing or like pretending to be something you're not. And then, you know, you get in 2 years and you realize, you know, all that stuff on their bio wasn't really true. And then you have to like get to know each other, and there's a lot of bickering, maybe about lies told or about illusions. Melrose Place. This could be like, again, with the family being all up in your business, but friends being all up in your business or dating friends of other people's like exes can definitely get messy. And 90210. Oh my God, friends groups all over here. So I feel like sleeping with friends is like how a lot of relationships start. Like you get a friends group, and you guys all hang out, and then you end up liking one of them, and then you hook up, and then you end up breaking up, and then they hook up. Like that can cause a lot of problems down the road in relationships, especially if you all stay friends. So I feel like what we're talking about here is like not crossing ponds or swords with other friends that are important to you, because it's just messy all the way around. Unless, they just really did not like that person and they give you their blessing and you guys hash it out, well, all for it. But really make sure they're not just saying that because they want you to be happy, because that's going to grow to be resentment. And this talking about like painting false illusions of who we are, and then you like maybe move in with each other and you're just like, what? What else do we need to talk about for the masculines? The beach. Woo, all these friends. But this is like building the life you want in the first 2 years. It's like you hang out with people, you're usually young, or you're just in that let's go out and do stuff because we're dating. So, the messiness gets thick in the first 2 years, doesn't it? All right, so let's talk a little bit about this. This is Mr. and Mrs. Smith about how can I help masculines feeling the need to act like maybe they have more money than they do, or have more, or they're more mature than they are, more experience than they do. Oh, goodness. Rebel. Yes, this is about, everybody's really, detox. They can only hold up the facade for so long. It's like you're dating someone, you want to impress them, you want to be a certain way. It's like when you're holding in your farts, you don't want to fart in front of someone. I've never purposely farted in front of anyone in my life, just to put that out there. I just wanted to be funny. But it's like, and then all of a sudden, like, you get comfortable. You're with someone and you're like, all right, now I'm going to be myself. And in comes the problems. Like, you didn't say you like this. Or, I don't know if I like this. It's like where you start looking at each other like, okay, the rose-colored glasses are coming off. The best behavior is starting to chip. So what's with all these friends, like partying, all this stuff? What do we need to know about here? Change the scenery. Step away from the crowd. Yeah, it's like being exclusive. Like, don't let I feel like the best thing, it's not like you have to like keep all of your shit secret, but yeah, spread the light. It, to me, is like when good shit happens, say it with people you love, but don't really tell everybody your business, like family, friends, because the more people know, the more they feel like they have a right to give you opinions about what they feel you should do, and the more you allow them that grace, the more it's going to cause a problem down the road. So it's like Spirit's telling you to draw those boundaries in the beginning, in the first 2 years of, I'm happy, I'm in love, everything's good. But, because if you don't, have you ever noticed if you don't talk about your person you're with, and like you see people like, so what's going on with you? You never talk about them. Are you guys good? Like they always assume like, no, the reason we stay good is because we keep our business to ourselves. I feel like that just overall builds healthier relationships. And like, if you set out and you are, like, because I've done this too, I was young and stupid. You become the person that you think that your person wants to impress them, and that only bites you in the foot, because if you really are going to end up together, you're going to have, get sick of being something you're not. And that's exactly what happens when the rose-colored glasses start chipping off and you start to be yourself, and they're like, wait a minute. Be yourself from the beginning so that you, one, don't have that, and so that you know that they like you for real. Take a breather. So Divine Masculine, in these first 2 years, I feel like when you feel that hot-headedness or that possessiveness or that panic, like everything's on you, to step back and really ask yourself, like, is this something that was imprinted on me? Like, do I feel this way? Do I feel like everything's on my shoulders because I was taught that because of my gender or my role in this family? If this is too much, if this relationship gets too stressful, like, it's okay in the first 2 years to be like, look, I love you. I know we're going to wind up together, but it's just too intense and I just want to slow it down. It's okay to do that and still be together and still make it. It's like, once you say, like, I just need to calm this down, it's not like it's not that I need to take a break, but like, we need to slow this down. That's a healthy thing and an okay thing for you to do, masculines, because I feel like you do feel the pressure, because you genuinely in the masculine energy are the ones that set the pace. But the other person can put pressure on the pace. Just take your time, go slow, really get to know someone, really get to know how they fit in your life, and don't tell anyone your business. Like, keep it family. Like, you can talk about them a little bit, but it's like the important shit, the stuff that you feel like they're just gonna be dramatic about or really cross those boundaries with you, then I would keep it to yourself. Just keep it to yourself. Get over yourself. That's that ego of like, say I'm sorry, all those petty fights when you're uncomfortable because you're really falling for someone and you don't want to lose them. At the same time, you know, you're getting to know someone. There's going to be complications. Don't harp on it too long or harp on the other person. Don't hold grudges. Do pay attention to the red flags. But start over. Okay, you learn something about each other. Holding grudges, especially in these 2 years, if you hold grudges in this time, you are going to hold grudges through your entire relationship. This is about really learning to let stuff go from the beginning so you don't learn bad habits within your relationships. Alright, let's go to the Divine Feminines side before we go in to both of you for relationships. Jessica Fletcher from Murder, She Wrote. Divine Feminine's always in the investigative, you know, I hate to say it, but it is true. The worry war of somebody cheating, somebody stepping on your turf, being protective, overanalyzing how your person feels, trying to read too much between the lines when they say things to you. You overanalyze their actions and you create this narrative in your head when it's not the reality, but you just sit in it and you stew in it and you don't seem to be getting what you need from the masculine, so you just keep digging and digging and digging, and it drives us a bit crazy here. Reese Witherspoon and Cruella de Vil. Get one more. Again, is the first 2 years. Jackie Kennedy. Okay, so in the first 2 years of a relationship, you know, you want to be stylish, you want to look good, you want to, I wouldn't say seduce your person, but you want to be all that in a bag of chips. Feminine energy is not only nurturing, but building It's like, I need this person to love me as much as I do. And I want to impress them. I want to look good for them. I want them to turn their head when I step in the room. So this is wanting style, wanting to be that it couple. Reese Witherspoon is a trendsetter, a go-getter, a woman in charge. So again, with the power struggles, I feel like that's very close with the masculine energy of women or feminine energies in a relationship, wanting to come in dominant from the beginning because they don't ever want to be pushed around. It's also wanting to have a career and family too. Then we got over detective mode, spying, stalking, all that stuff feminines do. Cruella de Vil is the evil side of feminine energy, of not wanting to let things go, being vindictive, or seducing someone with your body, doing things in the wrong sense, being a bit narcissistic or money hungry. That's not going to be true for everyone, but we're covering it in this. And then Jackie Kennedy with the style, wanting to look good for your person. Let's get into the feelings here. Again, first 2 years, and then we're going to switch it up and go random for both of you for the rest. Emotions causes this investigative. Salmon. They feel like they're swimming away, feeling like there's a distance, or it's just like their spidey senses going off that someone has a crush on their person, or they see something and like maybe they see someone like their person's picture on Facebook or like Instagram or whatever, and it's like, oh, they must be fucking. You know what I mean? It's like you're triggered by something because there's a gap. There's a reason why you feel like your person's pulling. Bat. You feel like they're being mysterious, that they're keeping things to themselves. Feminine energy is highly sensitive to being ignored, to changes in behaviors, changes in mood, and the first thing they do is, what did I do wrong? It's like a natural ingrained thing again, because you are in the nurturing energy. Your energy is to nurture, and if you're not nurturing something, then you feel like a failure. Wow, this is like, you're in love with this person, you feel connected to this person, you feel a big purpose, you just want to be their everything, you want to make them proud, you want to impress them, and this is defending what's yours, defending your future. So it's like you want to get out and head ahead of something. So you stalk, you ask questions, you get into that paranoid because you either feel like someone's stepping on your turf here. A lot of people don't admit, but divine feminine energy is highly territorial and very, very war mode. Like Mama Bear times 50. So they're feeling the need to defend or protect, or they're feeling like somebody's being shysty. Why do we feel like we need to come out forward and say, look, I want a career and a family? Or why do we feel like we need to establish our equality as far as this is a two people coming together, it's a power struggle, and this is like the feminine saying, I'm just as equal as you, I'm not going to take less, like I need to check them back at every point, or they're going to think they can one-up me. It's like feeling like that need to make it, either overly make it equal, or just overly show that I'm not one to push around. Yeah, salamander. I'm special. I have my own thing. I don't necessarily need you. I have my own purpose. I want you. I love you, but I have my own thing too. I matter too. I want my own stuff too. It's wanting, your independence, but not like in a bitchy way. It's just like, don't push my needs aside too. And the more feminines feel like their career is being degraded, or the more they feel like you don't care about what they say or do, or their interests, if you're not paying attention, they take it personally. It checks I need to establish some dominance here. I need to show this person that I'm something. Let's talk about Cruella de Vil. Why do they go into this narcissistic, seductive, all out for me? Stag. This is like a man or a woman hunter. This is like almost like Samantha in Sex and the City. It doesn't have to be a vindictive person. I just feel like this is like a feminine who tries to be a masculine energy. It's like, leave them before they can leave me. Or this is somebody who only looks at love for what they can gain. Roadrunner. Yeah, it's like they get what they want and they move on. It's all about collecting assets or moving on before someone finds out and discovers they're really Cruella de Vil. What's this Jackie Kennedy? Why do we feel the need to be on fleek, if you will, in the first 2 years? Wolf and hummingbird. Yeah, you want your person to want to devour you, to love you, to just want to rip your clothes off. You want to be sexy. You want to be devoured. You want to be the only one they see, so you feel like you physically have to match that. Like you physically have to keep their attention. Yeah, you feel like you have to dance for me. Dance or, strut for them. Lick your lips, or you feel the pressure to always snag their attention. I'm not exactly sure if that's healthy for us feminines, but let's get into the TV shows. Oh, here and there. It's like, where'd they go? We'll start with Murder, She Wrote, Jessica Fletcher. Riding in Cars with Boys. So this is about people who are like home with the kids, and the other person is gone all the time, and they have all this responsibility. You're being sketchy, you're not answering the calls, or you just feel like maybe your body changed having babies, but it's like maybe you're mad about money, or there's money issues, or there's like drug stuff going on, money's going on. There's like things happening that you need to know answers for, and this person isn't there or isn't telling you. So you feel the need to dig, and this becomes toxic behavior, but you're already in a low place because you're feeling abandoned. If you're home with the kids, or if you don't have kids in the first 2 years and they're just like out all the time, and they only call you at a certain time, or they, it's like, what's really going on here? Matching the masculine energy of not establishing those ground rules of, look, I want to be exclusive. Like, nobody else. Like, I'm not going to tolerate this. Like, if you don't set those ground rules in the first 2 years, these things happen. I would set this in the first date. You know what I mean? Like, well, not first date, but when you both know that you want each other and you're going to make it work, that's when I'd be like, look, there's no more fucking other people. If you were, guess what? If you want this, you ain't no more. You know what I mean? Like, setting those ground rules and being able to speak up for yourself, Divine Feminine. If you have children and this person, you know they get out of work at such and such time and they're not coming home, you have every right to voice yourself. But make sure you're not doing it in a toxic way. A lot of the times people think they're out cheating, and it's really like they just don't want to come home and be a parent, so they go do stupid shit like go sit at Taco Bell and look at porn on their phone for an hour before going home. You know what I mean? So just like, don't rake them over the coals. But yes, I feel like a lot of this happens because they feel like they can't say, hey, I feel like you're falling in love with somebody else, or I feel like you don't want me anymore. Like, it's so scary to be able to say that because you're scared of the answer. But would you rather just live in this mode of all the time of having to dig and having this anxiety, even if they did look at you and say, yeah, like, I'm done, I don't want this, like, at least you know, and you can go on with your life even if it hurts for a while. At least you know. Was Reese Witherspoon here? Let's get a clarifier. Medea's house. Yeah, think about Medea as a feared woman. People saw Medea and they're like, oh God. This is what the women feel like they need to be, a woman that can voice them. I keep saying woman. Stop saying woman. I'm doing it to my own self. Divine feminine in the energy of nurturing feels like they need to be able, they gotta have a tough exterior. They need to be heard. Their opinions will be heard. And if you check me, I'm going to check you back, because this is about knowing your worth and not allowing anyone to walk all over you. And this can cause a lot of conflict, because people just think at times that people like this are being difficult, when really it comes from like a past lover that pushed them around, or like a childhood of being bullied, and they just don't want, they want to be able to have an opinion. They want to be able to be important. What is this Cruella de Vil? Fool's Gold. Yeah. It's like, to me, I just heard gold digger, like going after all the wrong things. But if you think about the movie Fool's Gold, they were supposed to be getting divorced because, I don't know, some kind of complication happened. Matthew McConaughey's character didn't want the divorce, was trying to fight and did everything in his power to keep her from signing the papers. So this is like just not wanting to let something go because either you're not ready or don't want to see them with someone else, or you invested and you're angry, and it becomes like it takes you to like the Maleficent side of your gifts. Like, I'll show you, mother sucker, because you're hurt. It comes from a place of hurt. It's Jackie Kennedy. Anger management. I'm seeing the bridge part, but, that was Adam's part where, I feel pretty. He was pretending to not be mad when he was. It's like you're pretending to be perfect all the time. You're pretending to be an image. You're not to get someone's attention, and I feel like it just stresses you out, and it just sets the stage of unrealism for yourself. So when you start to be yourself, you automatically have like anxiety about it. It's like, oh, maybe you have kids down the road and your body shape changed, and you're not this, like I went through this too. Like, I was somebody who I still am to a point. Like, I like to keep, when I have a man, like, now everything's on fleek. They will not catch me without my legs shaved. You know what I mean? I'm a Virgo, okay? I'm a Virgo. If I even think at all that the experience is not going to be good, I'm like, I need to take a shower or something. I will make an excuse. But it's just like we put all this pressure on ourselves. Why? Where does this come from? And I feel like this is what we are getting into. Let's go. So let's talk about why. Let's start with that. Why do we feel as feminines that we have to nurture an image and not just people? Reach out. It comes from like childhood. It comes from like you want to be wanted. You want to be picked first. You want to be the first pick, so you feel like you have to match visibly what your person would pick first. It's completely a mental thing. And it has nothing, I mean, your man can make, or a woman make you feel beautiful every single day. But yet you still feel the need to constantly keep up, and it comes from within yourself. It comes from, this is what I feel I need for this person to be in love with me or to continuously pick me. It's so attached to needing them to want you and need you to a certain extent. I do feel like naturally this does wear off, but in the beginning it's very, very prevalent to feel the need to keep up a certain image. Start anew. I feel like this is like, again, I feel like I'm in your pocket, always changing my look up to keep it fresh, to go with the times, to be modern, so they don't get bored with you. You're afraid that they're going to get bored with you. That if you don't keep up, that they're going to just find someone who looks better or who does keep up. They'll get a different option if you don't give them what they want. That's so sad. Be patient with yourself. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself from in here. And I struggle with this too. I have severe body issues. I have an eating disorder. So, yeah, this is about learning to decorate for our shape. Learning to represent who we are, exactly who we are. Step away from an image you think that somebody else wants. Be your 100% authentic self from the gate. If you are a little bit plumper, own it. Rock it. And if they don't like it from the gate, then you know. Don't ever hide, like, I'm going to struggle with this as well. But at the same time, like, look, I got a little pudge down there. Yeah? Well, if you don't want to do me because I have a little pudge down there, then there's the door. Bye. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I love myself enough to not let that person destroy me if they did leave. I'm like, well, fuck you then. I got toys. I don't need you. Anyway. One day I'll have a one-night stand. It's on my bucket list. As fucked up as that sounds, it is. I'll make my husband wear a wig one day and change his name just to cross it off. That would be pretty fucked up, but funny. Alright, let's move on from the beginning. I feel like I've covered enough there. Let's get into, like, let's say you're moved in now, you've been together, moved in a bit, engagement, or baby making, or, you know, maybe buying a house. That level. What are we talking about here, Spirit? Again, I'm talking to both of you now. I'm not going to stick with the masculine, feminine stuff. So at this point, you're pretty much a collective unit. Fight. A lot of fights about money pop up here. But this is about fighting for your future. And you are at the point where you're both picking each other, especially if you're engaged, if you're buying a house, if you're having babies. You're picking each other. You're fighting for your future. It's not going to be easy. You're going to have to work for it. But as long as you both stay determined. But this is like when you have the most fight in your relationship. Like, we can do anything, babe. Yes. You know what I mean? We got this. Teamwork makes the dream work. It's fighting together, but it also causes a lot of fights. Planning for weddings, buying a house. Tenacity, yeah. You gotta fight. This is the meat of your relationship. It's all going down. It's all going down. It's a lot of shit. A lot of karmic shit. A lot of life shit. Truth. Yep, this is when you're facing the truth. Are we getting married, or are we just going to live together? Do we want kids right now, or what? Are we going to move to a different country or state? Decisions are being made in this time. Oh my God. Hustle. Yeah, you're on the grind. Making money for that wedding. Making money to raise your kids. Making money to buy that house. On the grind, for sure. All right. And mood popped. This is, I feel like this goes. You get moody, get into fights because you're overworked, overtired, got a lot of stress. So let's talk about fight here. Which deck to use? Let's go here. Why is fight on the table? Intuition and unconditional love. Yeah, this is about seeing the truth in each other. Like, I want a future with you. We can do this. Not to make a plan. We got this. Unconditional love. We are building for each other. With each other. I see you as my future. I only want to fight with you. If I gotta fight my way through life, I'm only fighting with you. This is like when all the like really petty shit starts to fall. Not that it ever really ends, but it's like you don't worry so much about this person leaving because you are confident that your future is solid at this point. Any other reason why fight would be here? Physical body and family. Fighting for the family, the future you want. Could literally be fights within the family, like especially if you're like planning a wedding and you're from like two different cultures. Oh my God, that's got to be a mess. Families coming together, family just not liking each other. Just see a lot of family drama in this time. All right, so let's talk about tenacity. Actually, let me back up. Right? What do we need to know about? Oh. Suffering. Woo. Where are the cards I need to find? What were they? Where'd you go? Guess I don't need them. Let me get one more. Suffering for family. Leadership, yeah. It's like learning to pick your fight. Like, if your family doesn't like your lover and you're so in love and you want to marry someone, the only one suffering is the person in the middle. It's like learning to pick your battles and like saying to your family, like, look, I'm going to love this person for the rest of my life. I'm in it with them, and if you can't get over your shit, then we're moving on without you. I want to bring you with me. You're my family. I love you, but I'm not going to keep doing this dance with you. I picked this person. I love this person, and this is what's happening. But at the same time, it's like the suffering is you got to make a lot of sacrifices. Sometimes you have to say goodbye to family, leave your comfort zone, moving in with each other, making big changes, making big cuts to have the life that you want can and be devastating. Like maybe you have to like sell your sports car to get a minivan because you're having kids now. Like making those tough cuts can cause a lot of resentment and fights. How you can help here is like really talking to each other like, look, I know you love the sports car and I really wish that we could afford to keep it, but we need to be able to fit our family, and I hope one day when we're retired we can get you a new sports car, but we're doing it for a good reason, not doing it to punish you. You know, just talking to each other and being honest and addressing that this person is giving up something they love and it's painful, even if it's for the right reasons. It's still sad. Acknowledge it. I feel like it goes a long way. Yeah. A lot of people have a lot of money issues here. This money is so hard when you're like getting married, trying to like have a baby coming, trying to build or buy a house. This is like the meat of your life. Let's talk about tenacity. Why is tenacity here? Truth, higher self. Yeah, this is speaking your truth. Like, this is what I want, and this is what we're going for. I want to buy a house. Okay, let's start looking for a house. I want to have a baby. Okay, let's start having a baby. Or trying for a baby. I want to get married. All right, let's start planning the wedding. This is when you sit down and you really say, I want you, you want me, now what? The truth comes out. Now what? This is what I want. This is what I want. All right. It doesn't always line up nicely. Could be some tiffs in that. Loss. Whew. You might have to cut people out of your life at this point that just aren't about your relationship, or this is when, you know, death happens and you go through some hard shit. Losses of jobs, losses of people, people stabbing you in the back. Maybe you try to have children and you lose a baby, unfortunately. That can all cause stress on a relationship. Tenacity to be able to work through these losses and speak the truth. This is how you stay a couple. Like, say you are the couple that, God forbid, lost a baby, you know, instead of pulling apart, you know, cuddle and be like, I'm sad too, how can I help you? I'll try to help you, and you try to help me, and maybe we can't help each other, but at least we're in it together. Like, or just saying, like, I'm not mad at you, I'm just mad, I'm just mad, like, I'm bitchy right now, and it's not you, and I'm sorry. Just acknowledging that does a lot to, like, the situation, you know what I mean? Or it doesn't have to be about a baby, any kind of loss or grief situation. Or if, like, you lost a job and you're like, I'm feeling pressured, you know, you're out here making money, I'm embarrassed, I want to be able to help, you know, I'm stressed out, like, I don't mean to be this, you know, just acknowledging it and speaking your truth out brings compassion into it and helps the other person see where your mind space is, and they can help you. But a lot of the times we just keep the shit to ourselves and we don't talk to each other, and that's where the rift and the issues start, because we aren't saying our truths to each other. Like, when it gets really hard, you should be able to lean on each other. You should. You should be able to be like, look, I feel like a fucking dick. Every day I watch you go to work and I still don't have a job, and I don't know why you even love me at all, and I'm not trying to be a whiny bitch, but, like, this is how I feel. Like, why can't we be that honest with each other? Why can't you say that truth? Because this is what a healthy relationship is. This is the relationships that stick, where you're not in that moment lovers, you're best friends. But at the same time, having the responsibility to recognize the words you're saying are going to a lover, not a friend. So you can't be like, the fucking sex life is horrible. You know, That's gonna hurt their heart. You know what I mean? You can't just be full on, like, no filter, cutthroat. But at the same time, you should be able to have that comfort to be like, look, I'm just fucked in the head right now. I don't even know what's going on. I'm taking it out on you. I don't know why I'm doing that. I'm such a dick. Please forgive me. Like, can you be mad at your person if they were just honest, if they just sat down and be like, look, I'm fucking sad and I'm taking it out on you today and I don't even know why. I'm just sad. Like, are you going to be mad? No. You're going to be like, well, let's figure this out. Well, why are you sad? Like, and can you please stop taking it out on me? All right, let's talk about hustle. I have hustle here. Like the work grind, being away from each other for a long amount of time, like because of shifts. Maybe you have to travel for work. Yeah, finding that balance between work and having time for each other and not bringing money issues into the relationship. Like, you shouldn't be fighting about money, even if you don't have enough money. If you're both doing everything you can possibly do, what good is it taking it out on each other? It does nobody any good. Like, we're going to be all right. We'll figure it out, one day at a time. We're going to have victory. We got this. Let's hug it out. Like, I know I'm scared too, but we'll figure it out. The hustle, we're hustlers. We're going to make it. But we need to be able to stay together as a family. We need to be able to stay in love. And I spend 60 hours a week at work, and you spend 60 hours a week at work, and we're having kids, and we need to figure some shit out. We need to make some changes in our life so that this all works. Maybe we need to downsize so that I can work 40 hours and you can work 40 hours and we can be here for these kids. It's like learning to change your hustle as well. But you can have victory as long as you don't bring money into bed with you. Always say you're sorry before you go to sleep. You don't have to forgive each other before you go to sleep, but at least if you said angry words or if there's tension, just before you go to bed, be like, look, I love you. I know we're not 100% right now, but I'm not going anywhere and I love you. And we'll work this out. I didn't forgive you just yet, but I'm just letting you know, let's not have life crises about this. Putting it out there goes a long way to a healthy relationship. Let's talk about, deceit popped me and then business popped. So some of you who work together, that's very strenuous when you are trying to build a side hustle as a couple, work together and you have all that stress. Don't bring it into bed with you. You've got to have that balance between working together and being home together. It has to be separate. You cannot bring the two together. It just will not work long term. There's going to be a crash somewhere. And you're ultimately going to have to pick if you let it crash, being coworkers or being lovers. If you can't find the balance to make the two coexist, you end up picking in the end. The deceit with hustle is, a lot of complications come up. I did this in my past relationships. I'll never do it again. My situation was a bit different, but hiding money or feeling guilty if you spend, if you're married, it's your money together or whatever, or if you can do things separate. That might be healthy for you if you guys fight a lot about money, or if you're always nitpicking, you deceived me, you said it was this much when it really was this much, and you're always seemingly bickering about money. Maybe it's best for you to separate your finances, and if someone if you can't do that because someone works and the other one doesn't, you can set up a bank account. It's not degrading, but it helped my grandparents. They had a lot of stress. My grandma came up in the time where women didn't work, so every week my grandpa would deposit money into her account, and she would, have a budget for the house stuff, and then he would give extra money for herself. So he would budget out all the stuff that she needed to buy for the household, and then he would, I guess in his own way, he was like paying her for all of her hard work because she held it down. She cooked every meal, she raised the kids, she did the laundry, the house was squeaky clean every damn day. He appreciated her. Like, it wasn't a degrading thing, and we really need to step away from that. If there are people out there, one that works and one that stays home, everybody deserves to have a little bit of pocket money, whether it be $10 or $100 or whatever you can afford, so that person feels like they have something for themselves. That takes a lot of resentments out of those kinds of fights and helps you focus on the love situation instead of looking at somebody who is the provider and I have to ask for them if I want to buy myself a pair of underwear. It's degrading and it becomes resentment. And it also can become resentment for the other person if you're constantly overspending because you're not clear on the budgets, if you can't communicate well, and if you are clear on the budget and that person just has unhealthy boundaries with money, then setting up that private account will help them learn to budget. You're helping them, not punishing them, and you need to talk to each other about it. And say that I'm not punishing you, I'm helping you. Like, we're in debt. I don't want to be in debt because I can teach you to budget. I can teach you to still have what you want and, take care of the home or do whatever you got to do without breaking our bank, without feeling like I don't value you. So why is this mood here? Devotion and new beginnings. It's all about the mood. Think of yourself as a mood ring. Like, when your person is around you, your mood is affected by their mood. If you're devoted to each other, if you put love into each other, then you're vibrating at a really high, happy blue. Woohoo! I'm in love, our relationship's good. If you're both, in a very heavy, dark, low mood, your mood as a couple is opal and very dark. It's all about the mood you put into it. It's all, if you can have a positive, happy new beginning and get through anything in your relationship at any time, it all starts with the mood. Are you going to wake up and be bitchy to each other, or are you going to compromise and make peace and put it behind? Are you going to hold on to things forever, or are you going to let go and have a happier future because you're not holding on to something 5 months ago that doesn't have any relevance on your day, but weigh you down? You know what I mean? All right, let's talk about, first babies. This is a huge change. Huge freaking change in a relationship. I guess you can consider this like a dog, too, if you're not doing kids, you're getting pets. Allowing. Let me get a few more. True offering. Delusion. Sacrifice and flow. Yes. All right. Bottom of the deck, divine source. All right. So this is after the pregnancy. You got a new baby. You're home. This is when the panic sets in. Oh my God! They gave us a baby. I don't know what to do with this thing. Oh my God! So this is allowing each other room to make some mistakes. You're new parents. You're not going to know what to do. You're both going to panic. You're going to snap at each other because you're exhausted. This is new. None of you know what to do or what the fuck's happening. And it's going to be tense for a while. And you're going to take it out on each other. And other moments, you're going to be very supportive of each other. One day, someone's going to be on fleek, and the other day, the other person's like, I don't give a fuck about nothing. And then you're going to switch roles, and it's going to be exhausting. And it's normal. Every single couple goes through this. Allow it to unfold. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. True offering is like, this is Spirit saying, like, I only give you what you can handle. So you can both handle being parents. You will figure out how your kid operates and what to do. It takes a minute. But this is about being true to the other person and really honestly looking at your situation. Like, if one of you is home on maternity leave and one of you is working, clearly the person who's working needs sleep. I know this is a big contention in the fighting. I'm exhausted. You get to sleep. I don't. I have to get up and work every day. You get to stay home with the baby. These fights happen. Staying home with the baby is work. You should never say that. You are exhausted just on your shift. So could you imagine doing your shift and then a full day shift? Give your other person some respect when you get home after you've had a minute to just give your person a minute to offer each other a reprieve through the day. You know, it can't be constant, you know. My turn, your turn, my turn, your turn. It's never going to be fair. But at some point in the day, you should be able to be like, can I just have 20 minutes to myself? And your person's like, I got this. Go do you. Be able to offer each other what you need. If you see the other one is struggling and exhausted, even if it is their turn, and you got more energy because you got a little bit more sleep, step up. It's like, you got to put the work in it. But at the same time, this is your family. And this is temporary. And when your kid is 18 and goes to college, you're going to want to go right back to this moment. And when they're, 15 years old and too cool for school to even talk to you, you're going to miss when they cuddled you like an infant. So as crazy and hectic and stressful as it is the most beautiful moment of your child's life. They're only a baby for so long, so do try to enjoy it and capture the memories, even though you're exhausted and bickering a little bit and life is crazy. Try to enjoy it. It goes fast. Delusions, yeah. Every new parent is delusional. You have this idea. You're going to pop out this kid. You're going to bring it home. And this is how your life's going to be. And you picture this for 9 months. Guess what? You get home and none of that shit happens. Because you were crazy. That is not realistic at all. Babies don't do that. And you realize this in the first week of you being home. Like, what the was I thinking? Like, I need to let go of the delusions of, I'm not going to make my own baby food because I'm fucking tired. And it takes 4 hours to make 6 jars of baby food when I can just go spend $1.29 and it's completely healthy and babies eat it all the fucking time. Or maybe you wanted to breastfeed and you didn't end up having milk come in and you had to make a concession to do formula, and that changed your, like, the delusion was everybody gets to breastfeed. Well, no. My mom couldn't breastfeed me, but she breastfed all the other kids. You know what I mean? It doesn't always happen. We need to let go of those delusions. And a lot of freak out moments and a lot of, like, shouting and a lot of resentment comes from those delusions. Like, I thought you were going to be more help. I thought this was going to be easier. I didn't think it was this hard. Those emotional breaks of when you've just hit your limit. Those delusions really slapping you in the face. Please know that we all feel that stupid. We all are like, what the hell did I get myself into? This baby will not shut up and I'm tired. am I a bad mother because I just want to be like, be quiet? But I can't yell at them like that because they're an infant. You all have those moments. Everybody does. It's a delusion to think that all parents are like, every moment of my child's life is a perfect sanity. I love every minute of my day wiping my kid's ass. Liar. You know what I mean? They're delusions. Betty Crocker is the biggest delusion of them all. You know, there is no perfect. There is no right way to parent. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. Everyone tries to give you advice, which also annoys you more. You gotta just figure it out. It's your baby. You just gotta figure it out, the two of you. And just, ask for help. Like, if you are both exhausted, boop, 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 Grandma, help. Can you watch the baby for the night? Because I need sleep, and so does my husband or wife. Like, help us. This boat is sinking. Reach out. Sacrifices are definitely made when you have a baby. Like, if you're a smoker, guess what? You can't smoke in the house and you got a baby. You got a pet, You got to teach your pet not to jump. You have to, put things in your plug so your baby doesn't have to stick things in there themselves. Like, there's little sacrifices and there's big sacrifices. Like, it costs a lot of money. Like, you got to buy diapers, formula if you're not breastfeeding, wipes, clothes. This kid's going to have to go to college. You're going to have to sign him up for preschool. Like, do you even know where your preschool is in your village or town? Probably not if you don't have kids. These are things like your life changes. Everything changes. You're not going to be able to just get up and go on a trip whenever you want. You're not going to get to go drink all night and sleep all day because you're going to have a kid to take care of. Sacrifices have to be made. This is a big point of contention and fights and stress and worry, and it causes panic modes. And the mother and father, as the baby, I feel like it gets really intense from 7 to 10 months. And then when the baby's born, the first year, it's waves of, oh, my life is fucked. Welcome to parenthood. Hello. Yeah, you just gotta go with the flow. One thing about being a parent is you learn how to just go with the flow. If you were scared to poop in public, guess what? You ain't gonna be scared to poop in public no more because it's probably quieter to poop in public. I don't know why I'm making poop jokes lately, but I think it's funny. Alright. It's getting a bit long. Let's step away from points and timelines and just talk about shit that we need to know about making our relationships last in a marriage or a long-term relationship. Purification and positivity. It's all about the intention and the attitude. What a good way to end it. You set forth the intention in your relationship. You're going to treat someone with respect. You're going to be loyal to that person. You're going to be able to be someone they can count on. And setting forth that intention and them matching it, that's equal give and take. That's exactly what purification is. Equal give and take. As long as you are setting forth that intention and that intention is being matched, you're going to be all right. When one person is staying to the rules of a relationship, because everybody has rules, whether you're in an open one or you're not in an open relationship, there's rules. There's a code of honor that you have. And if one's following it and the other one's not following it, it's never going to work. It's never going to be healthy. It's never going to get off the ground and last for a long time, married or not. So Spirit's the number one thing you should know is it has to be give and take. Equal give and take. As in, this person isn't cheating and you're not cheating. You're putting the work in and they're putting the work in. You're, putting equal into the home life and the kids' life, and they're putting equal in. You know, of course, things aren't always 50-50, but is it as fair as it can be? Do they respect you? Do they honor you? Do they treat you with respect? Do they walk in the light? Are they a good person? Are you being a good person? Are you good together? Does this feel good? Does it feel right? If all of that is yes, you've got everything you need in that box to make your relationship work. We started out this reading with like the whole Noah concept of, if you want it, if you put the work in it, if you fight for it, it will always exist. It will make it, because you're always putting that intention. You're always putting the action in. You're setting that purification of, this is my boundary and I will not cross it. And again, with attitude, everything comes from attitude. If you are a shitty, miserable person, and your person is a shitty, miserable person, you're going to have a shitty, miserable life. If you're a happy, upbeat person, I mean, overall, everybody has bad days and good days, but overall, if your personality is miserable and you're with a miserable person, you might be okay with that because you're both miserable, but a miserable person can't be with a positive person because they're just going to bump heads all the time. You got to be on the same page, at least emotionally, at least mentally. You can be very different in how you feel about things and what your opinions are, but you have to be similar in how you view life and how you attack life. Not how you process things. You can process things differently, but you have to be someone. If you're a go-getter, you can't be with a lazy person. You know what I mean? You have to kind of be similar in the aspect of how you, exactly like I said, how you attack things, how you attack life, how your outlook on things are. Whatever it is, whatever challenging time that you're going through, how do you attack it? It has to be something that can be conducive to the other person, or else it's just not going to work, because you're going to go one way and the other person's going to go the other way. Anything else we need to know to wrap up this first therapy section? And thank you so much for sticking with me, and I hope you got something from this so far. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. I am trying to grow my channel. I do work a normal 9-to-5 job. I just do this on my days off. That's why there's some dips sometimes. So let me know if you're liking these therapy sessions below, and by hitting the like button. All right, let's close this out. Just had to get that in there before I forgot. Oh. Gratitude, yes, always showing the other person how much they mean to you, how thankful for them, like all the things that they do for you and your kids should be acknowledged, and vice versa. But you should always be thankful for, like, ooh, it's warming up. The sun's coming out. But it's like, as a couple, as parents, you should be like, you're such a good parent. Like, thank you for taking care of our kids. Thank you for giving me these kids. And then as a couple, you should be like, thank you for, always knowing the right words to say, or always hugging me, or always allowing me to, get my emotions out and not judge me for it. And then, for the stuff they do, in life, like for their job, like every aspect of your person, you should always be showing them that you're thankful, that you're proud of them. This goes a long way. This keeps the love alive, and it keeps that admiration and respect, and it makes love bloom. It doesn't kill love. Anything you can do in the relationship to help love grow, like just writing a random cute note every so often, bringing home flowers just because, telling them they're beautiful or handsome, being extra cuddly, being more sensual in the lovemaking, letting them feel your love, feel the gratitude, say it, feel it. All of that makes love blossom. It's just like a plant. Your relationship is a plant. You got to water it. You got to nourish it. You got to have stuff in the soil that it can eat, and you got to shine some light on it, or else it's just going to shrivel and curl up and then not grow at all anymore and just sit there dead in your house. Yes, you got to take leadership on what you want. Take leadership on speaking up when you need help. Take leadership when you are feeling emotional and you... Overall, if at any point in your relationship and you want to talk to your spouse about something, you should be able to. There should never be any I mean, maybe about the time, like if, they had a death, you want to give them some time before you pile stuff on, or if they have some big project or work thing, you might want to wait a few days. That's okay. That's very empathetic and kind of you. I'm not talking about that. But it's you should be able to take charge on what you want to do with your career. You should be able to take charge on your thoughts. And you should be able to say, hey, I love you, or hey, this is what I need. Communication is key. Take leadership on that. If you feel like there's a disconnect, if you feel like things aren't okay, take leadership by saying, hey, let me address the elephant in the room. Because the more you ignore the elephant in the room, the more you're letting your relationship die. You gotta fight for it. You gotta fight for it every single day. It's work, boo-boos. It's work. But like Brittany said, work, bitch. Not really. But as long as you're putting the work in and your person's putting the work in, you're gonna be okay. It's not always happy. It's not always fun. But it's not always heavy, and it's not always miserable. This is a ride or die. This is a life partner. Remember that. Partner. If they are not a partner, deuces, partner. You know what I mean? I need to go find my partner, not my partner. If that made any sense. Anyway, I'm all talked out. My jaw hurts. It's 2 hours. Another movie one. Anyway, I hope it was helpful. Next week, dun dun dun. What do we got? Relationship therapy session for teens and their parents, or teens and their teachers. Teens and adults in general. It's going to be one. I mean, teenagers are difficult. Communicating and understanding them are difficult. But they're also struggling to understand us. So I hope that session gives you some light in that area. And I hope to see you back next week. If you don't have any teens in your life, not next Sunday, but the weekend after, I'm going to be talking about relationship therapy with your parents. You grown up as adults, as you have your own kids, and your relationship with your parents now that you're kids, if that makes sense. How they try to parent your children, how they view your relationship, all the stuff that comes up when you become a parent and how you view your parents. You start judging your parents once you're a parent. We're going to get into that. So if you don't have teens in your life, stay tuned. I do have stuff for people who aren't in a love thing or aren't, having kids. This is relationship stuff. So there's all different kinds of relationships in life. And I'll see you next week. I love you guys. I appreciate you so much. And have a good week. Toodaloo, boo-boos. Bye.